Imagine waking up in a world where religion never existed. No temples, no mosques, no churches, no promises of heaven or threats of hell, not even a whisper of God. Just humans figuring out life with logic, curiosity, and shared experience. What would that world look like? Peaceful or chaotic? Free thinking or lost in confusion? This is not about mocking religion or glorifying atheism. It's a sincere exploration of what shapes us, divides us, and perhaps completes us. Let's explore two scenarios. One, where religion never evolved. Another, where everyone stops believing from today. Early humans faced untamed nature. They feared thunder, disaster, disease, death, the unknown. But they didn't invent gods. No Zeus, no Shiva, no Osiris. Just curiosity and a desire to understand through observation, logic, and shared reasoning. Would this evidence-based mindset have accelerated human advancement? Richard Dawkins called belief in God an illusion, intellectual immaturity that blocks rational thought. But would science exist without the spiritual urge to look up and ask, why? Because while religion may not have offered accurate answers, it asked all the right questions. So what about morality? Without divine rules, would chaos reign? Probably not. Humans are social creatures. We developed unwritten contracts like "don't stab me, I won't stab you," based on empathy, not commandments. Thinkers like Hobbes and Rousseau imagined societies built on agreements, not dogma. Friedrich Nietzsche famously declared, "God is dead." He feared that without God, morality would become meaningless. Could morality survive without absolutes? Without a higher standard, we're left with individual interpretation. One person's freedom becomes another's harm. Without religion, wouldn't we miss the towering cathedrals of Europe, the intricate temples of India, the soulful Sufi poetry, the epics of the Ramayana? Religion wasn't just belief, it was expression, inspiration. It gave us art that makes us weep, and architecture that takes our breath away. Sure, human creativity would still exist, but would it reach for the divine? Would Michelangelo still paint the Sistine Chapel ceiling if he wasn't trying to touch God? A rational world might be more efficient, but perhaps less soulful. Religion both challenged and preserved science. Galileo was silenced, Darwin was demonized, but monks preserved ancient knowledge. Indian sages developed astronomy and Ayurveda in spiritual contexts. As the Dalai Lama once said, if science disproves Buddhism, Buddhism must change. Without religion, maybe we'd have colonized Mars, or maybe without spiritual caution, we'd have destroyed ourselves sooner. Because while science tells us how, religion tried to answer why. All wars are religious, some say. Not entirely true, but not false either. Crusades, jihads, inquisitions, pogroms, persecutions. Conflict may be a human trait, but religion certainly fueled it. Christopher Hitchens argued, religion poisons everything, implying many wars are rooted in religious divisions. But even without religion, we divide ourselves by race, by language, by ideology, even by the color of our skin. Maybe the problem isn't belief. Maybe it's the believer. No Islamic republics, no Christian theocracies, no dress codes or gender roles dictated by scripture. Would law and governance have been more universal, more secular? Possibly, yes, but humans are tribal. Nationalism, capitalism, or communism might become belief systems themselves. Religious institutions founded many early schools, monasteries, madrasas, mission schools, but without them, knowledge might have been more universal, less dogmatic, more science, logic, and critical thinking from day one, without religious filters. Though, progress might have been uneven in regions where religion did bring literacy and books. Now imagine, not a world where religion never existed, but from today, everyone stops believing. What happens? First, identity crisis. For many, religion isn't just belief, it's who they are. It shapes families, rituals, communities. Alain de Botton wrote in Religion for Atheists that the secular world should borrow religion's best ideas because it still lacks alternatives to the emotional and communal support religion provides. What fills the vacuum? Therapy? Philosophy? Mindfulness apps? Maybe. We'd invent new rituals, Sunday gatherings on quantum mechanics instead of parables, because we'll always need stories to live by. What happens to churches, temples, mosques? Chants, hymns, and bells would fall silent. Billions in religious real estate might become museums, shelters, cafes, or lie abandoned. Would we visit them with reverence or nostalgia? Festivals like Diwali, Christmas, or Eid would lose their center. Would families still gather? Would the food still taste the same? The economic ripple would be massive. No pilgrimages, no religious tourism, no faith-based charities. Whole industries would vanish overnight. Cities like Mecca, Varanasi, and Vatican would face economic collapse. Millions could lose their jobs. On a social level, bonds held together by religion might unravel. Religion has long been both a crutch and a comfort, a therapist in every prayer, a friend in every hymn. Could philosophy or mindfulness replace that? Maybe for some, but for many, the silence would be deafening. New systems would emerge, secular nonprofits, humanist communities, purpose-built on logic, not divinity. Business would flourish around erstwhile pilgrim centers, resorts, hotels, marketplaces. Entrepreneurs would adapt. They always do. Some countries have laws rooted in scripture, Sharia law, biblical interpretations. Religious rhetoric and politics would disappear. Political parties based solely on religious identity would dissolve. Napoleon Bonaparte once said, "Religion is excellent stuff for keeping common people quiet." Without religion, laws might become more universal. However, moral ambiguity might spark resistance, because without shared morality, who decides right from wrong? If nothing is sacred, what holds society together? The Enlightenment gave birth to modern atheism. Thinkers like Hume, Voltaire, Spinoza challenged religious dogma. Modern voices like Dawkins and Hitchens argue, religion is harmful, it breeds division. But others, like humanist Greg Epstein, say, we must replace it with compassion, not mockery. People believe not just from ignorance, but from need. Even Stephen Hawking once admitted, science can explain the universe, but not why it exists. So if religion disappears, what takes its place? Even the most secular societies struggle with loneliness, corruption, and crime. Science deals with facts, not purpose. Philosophy is beautiful, but abstract. Religion, fractured, yes, but it gives people a sense of meaning. So maybe we're not looking to replace religion. Maybe we're trying to evolve it. So, what's the truth? Religion has inspired kindness and cruelty. It unified and divided, built civilizations and burned them down. Would the world be better without it? Maybe, or maybe not. Because religion isn't one thing. It's shelter and sword, comfort and cage, hope and hallucination. Maybe the goal is not to erase a religion, but to outgrow what divides us and carry forward what unites us. Maybe, just maybe, somewhere between reason and reverence, we'll find what we've been searching for all along. So next time someone says, imagine a world without religion, don't just imagine silence. Imagine the sound of people trying to understand each other, even without a God. You may agree or agree to disagree. Let us know your take in the comments below. Until next time.